Thanks for joining us on OpenLine. This is a scene down in Miami, Florida right now. They are spraying to hopefully kill off the mosquito population, at least the ones that are carrying Zika right now. Of course, it's a huge issue as the mosquitoes are transmitting Zika now here in the continental United States, just in this one area as for now. I have two doctors here with me today from the Metro Health Department giving us a wealth of information about Zika virus, because there really is so much to learn. It seems like there's something new every day because this is an evolving situation, evolving story. Just a week ago, we didn't have the transmissions here in the States. Now we do. I brought up a question about kiddie pools. I have one at my house, and every day as I'm pulling out of the driveway, I look at that thing and go, oh no, what are we doing? Are we part of the huge problem here? But we can do something.
Yes, you can do something. With the kiddie pool, you can go to your home improvement store and buy mosquito dunks and put it in there and disturb the water once in a while to make sure the eggs are not clinging to the sides. But you feel free to use your pool, but put the dunks, they're larvicides. The mosquitoes are like you see in the clip there in Florida. Those mosquitoes are the immature stages, larval pupa stages. They are sedentary, easier to control at that stage before they become adults. So put mosquito dunks, they're very safe. These are biological based larvicide, and you and your kids can still play in the pool. Yeah.
And I think Bob called in and we didn't answer one of his questions. And he said, what about those garbage cans? Are garbage cans much of a concern?
Could be. Again, don't throw away your garbage can. And I mean, garbage cans, it's the problem with it, it's beyond mosquitoes. It could be rodents and rats. So keep it covered and empty your garbage on time. That's what you need to do for now. Make sure it's covered so it's not holding water and it's not leaking to hold water. Other than that, empty your garbage frequently. And it should be okay.
And really, you're asking people to do the things that we hear over and over again every year, whether we're talking about West Nile or just not getting bitten by a mosquito. Wear the long sleeves when possible, the pants. I know that's not desirable in 90-degree
like
weather.
95 degrees.
I know. Dress like it's winter, folks. Wear the DEET. And unfortunately, it seems as though the natural remedies, the natural repellents, just aren't effective here.
Well, there's more than DEET on the market. There's more than DEET that's been actually approved for use.
The picaridin?
Yeah, picaridin is one. Oil of lemon eucalyptus, which sounds kind of natural, but it smells a whole lot more strong than DEET does.
It does.
With any of them, the most important thing is to read the label and follow the directions. You know, for a very, very young baby under 2 months or something like that, no, you don't want to be using these. But these have been used, especially DEET, for a long time, and they can be used safely if you're really following the directions.
And I guess for babies, if you're taking them out on the stroller ride, you need to have the mosquito netting over them, not the blanket, but the mosquito netting and that sort of thing. It's just really common sense, but we, instead of just saying, oh, I don't really need it, you do now. It is serious, you do.
Yeah, you do. And like Dr. Paul said, there are many options that are EPA approved for repellents, very basic common sense steps that we can take, and we can still reduce the impact of mosquitoes on our quality of life. We can still do the basic things that we need to do. And yeah.
One thing that I found interesting when I was reading through all the wonderful material you all supplied today was the Zika virus. You can have it for a week, maybe even longer, and you don't know it. Actually, in fact, a lot of people never know they have it, but then if it does present symptoms, you may have had it already for a week. That's kind of scary when you think about it, especially if you're trying to get pregnant or you're having sex with someone. It can be scary.
Yeah, I mean, that's true of a lot of viruses, but especially something like this, that maybe 4 out of 5 people who get the virus never get sick.
The majority of people will not know.
On the one hand, that's a really good thing, right?
Sure.
Because people are not getting sick. On the other hand, the virus can travel from person to person more easily because we haven't identified the case and we haven't told them to stay inside and prevent mosquitoes from biting them. So yeah, that's a challenging thing about Zika. It's challenging about a lot of these mosquito-borne infections. The other mosquito-borne viruses we worry about here aren't quite the same. So, West Nile birds have a big role to play. Zika, not so much. And so really the mosquitoes can spread it from one person right to another.
Let's just talk for a second about West Nile. We used to hear about it all the time. We're really not too much anymore, and it's kind of become secondhand. It's like, oh yeah, that old West Nile. We're used to that one. What is the scenario here? What's the story this summer with that in this area?
It is still ongoing. We've had a few positive mosquito pool cases, but what we found out in the past 10-12 years is we have these huge West Nile virus activities in mosquitoes, but they don't seem to translate to human cases, which is good for us. And so, but it's still ongoing. We still track for that. We still monitor and do testing for those, and we still respond in the same way to that. When we see that, we'll send out the news release. We'll tell people to take the same steps, and we'll go around, inspect, and look for breeding sites and apply larvicide. So it is still here. It's like Dr. Bob was saying, it's very important to know that the differences between the two. For example, humans in West Nile virus will not have enough virus in their blood to infect another mosquito. So both are important in that case. However, Zika is slightly different because we do get those viruses and mosquitoes can spread. Both are here. It's the same message for mosquito control. So whatever efforts you take for Zika actually also helps for controlling mosquitoes for West Nile virus. Different mosquitoes, slightly different habitats, but again, both of them breed around the house, which is the same steps are very helpful in controlling them.
We might have gotten a little relaxed about West Nile virus.
I think for sure, yeah.
This year, with the concern about Zika, you know, if you haven't cleaned the gutters, if the gutters have standing water and plants growing out of them and things like that.
Nobody likes, yeah.
Don't do it if you're going to be unsafe. Hire somebody to do it and be safe. But that's you know, this is kind of an added incentive for us to make it less friendly for mosquitoes in our neighborhoods, and that will also help just with the nuisance that mosquitoes are. With West Nile, we've been lucky. You know, there are some communities that had dozens and hundreds of cases, but in Nashville, we've never really had an epidemic of West Nile. We see the virus, we just don't see a lot of people getting sick.
What other symptoms if somebody has West Nile? What happens?
That's also one that can cause almost no illness for lots of people. It can cause a mild illness with headache and fever for some people, and then maybe 1 out of 100 or less, they can actually get really, really serious infection with the worst case being encephalitis or meningitis. And so it can actually cause brain disease, brain infection. That's why we take it seriously, even though it has not affected that many people in our community.
Yeah, for the one that it might, that's life-altering for sure. Okay, some good tips there for both West Nile and Zika. Let's be on our guard. Let's go through these protection tips. I know we keep going through them, but we just can't say them enough. You got to start with the clothing. And I guess there are some items of clothing, and people who work outside probably know this best, that come with protection in them. I've never heard of that before.
Yes, and you can even treat your clothing to put that protection in. If it's,
permethrin.
Permethrin, right. So there's a compound. You can either buy your clothing that's got permethrin treated, or that you can actually treat yourself. And that even lasts through laundry.
I was surprised when I read that. That's amazing.
Yeah. So again, it's a chemical.
Right.
Read the label. Use it the way it's recommended to be used. We always say wear long sleeves and long pants. I don't know how many people actually do that.
Right.
But I think if you're in an area where you know there's a lot of mosquitoes, you may choose to do that. There's other things you can do. So using those repellents, the ones with DEET, the ones with picaridin or oil of lemon eucalyptus, use them the way they're recommended. And with Zika, it's not like dawn and dusk anymore. It's all day. They're nasty. They bite in the daytime.
So you got to be alert 24 hours a day. Also, check your screens if you're going to have the windows open.
All right.
Because we will, hopefully in the next month, have a nice day or two, or maybe you can open the windows. I'm hoping, at least cross fingers. You got to check those screens.
Yes, and the way to look at it is the two campaigns that we have. One is to prevent mosquito breeding. The other is to prevent mosquito bite. Preventing bite is what Dr. Paul is talking about, is wearing DEET, but also you got to make sure the screens are working well. your doors are properly closed, because they're going to make their way into your home and they will bite you. And so anything you can do to avoid bite is very important to take those steps. Yeah.
I'm always telling my boys, close those doors behind you. The bugs are going to get in.
Yes. Yeah, some will get in,
Yes.
but you need to, yeah.
Yeah, for the breeding, mosquito breeding sites, it's containers, and it's containers near your home, and the state says toss, tip, and turn, and cover.
Yeah.
So if you kept your kiddie pool covered, the mosquitoes wouldn't get in there, so they couldn't get in there to lay their eggs. That would be an
Right.
issue. Some people have, they like to keep rainwater, so there might be a barrel of rainwater they're using for plants. Put a screen over there, then adult mosquitoes can't come
Get in
and
there.
lay their eggs. So there's ways to do what you want to do if you're careful about not letting mosquitoes do that breeding. I think a lot of people, and I occasionally find it myself, it's like, I didn't know that would hold water, or I
Yeah.
forgot that was here. You know, it's something in the garden that's holding water,
Right.
breeding mosquitoes, and I really want to do my part so that my family's safe and that my neighbors are safe.
As we look at what's happening in Miami, and they've had the locally transmitted Zika, how likely do you guys think that's to spread?
Well, it is here. And there are places with the primary vector, Aedes aegypti. People travel a lot. And unfortunately, we don't have boundaries for mosquitoes.
Yeah.
We don't have boundaries. So I think it's safe, and that's what CDC is kind of assuming will happen, that we're going to have sporadic cases in different parts of the country. So maybe some places the risks are higher than other places. So we'd always felt that places like Miami, Florida, the risk will be it's slightly higher than we have here. But I think it's safe to assume conservatively that it will happen, and so we need to be ready for if and when it gets here.
Yeah, I would be very surprised if we don't see more and more of what's going on in Florida right now. And it could happen in New Orleans, it could happen in Texas. It could happen here, you know, and so we want to be vigilant. We want to be watching for it. The mosquitoes we have are not the classic ones that are causing it in South America, but the scientists say that our tiger mosquitoes can do it. And so we want to be ready. We want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to protect folks.
And that's what tonight is all about. We're going to take another quick break. I do want to remind you, if you have any questions about Zika virus, now is your chance to call. We have another long segment coming up here. We'd love to hear your questions. 615-737-PLUS is the number to call. Stay with us.